It is 9 o'clock, so you know what it is. It's on the Bywire. I am Dan Lewis, and on tonight's show, again, two very, very special guests. First up, we have Kenny Saunders from the Save Grassroots Football campaign. Kenny's just like a national treasure when it comes to like football, man. The guy has taught so many people so many things, and he's been working hard for 8 years to try and get extra funding into grassroots football, and he's going to be on the show in a little bit. I had a little interview with him, and boy, a couple of bombs got dropped there when he was talking, man. Real talk. Like, I'll let him do the talking. And also after that, we have got the formidable Laura Smith, Crewe's finest, Crewe Nantwich's finest. Laura Smith, yeah, she took it down when she was in Parliament, and right now she's on Bywire here with your boy Dan Lewis. You know what it is. Now, obviously, beginning of the show, I got to do a quick little thing for myself. Hit the follow button, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I want to get loads of likes on this video, man. We didn't get many last time. You guys are slacking. Make sure you get that up, and also make sure you check out bywire.news, where we have the latest and most exclusive. Don't know the exclusives coming out on Bywire. We have them all on bywire.news. And while you're there, don't forget to hit the donate button. If you're able to help us out, that means you can be a part of owning the media. Now, I say it every night, and I'm gonna say it again tonight. There are a very small amount of men who own most of the media in the world. And when I say most, I mean like 99.999 something percent. It is crazy how much they own and how much they control when it comes to telling you what is or what isn't news, or what they just don't decide not to tell you. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to tell you what's good, what's really going on, and give you a different perspective on the news. Now, I want to get right into tonight's show with Kenny, so I'm going to just leave that there. Don't forget to hit that donate button. And here is Kenny Saunders from the Save Grassroots Football campaign. Thank you so much for coming on the Bywire show today. Really appreciate it. It's been 8 years, 4 petitions, and no action from the Premier League or the government. And obviously now we got the likes of the Super League trying to creep into this world, and I guess you'll get no action from them. But what is it you're doing? What is the petition? And how is it working? How's it going?
Well, basically, the petition has more or less been the same petition for the last 8 years. You know, we just haven't reached 100,000 signatures. I think the best one we had was like 53,000 signatures. And basically what we were asking is what the Premier League agreed to in 1999 in the Task Force Agreement. They agreed that 5% of their TV revenue would go back into grassroots football. However, this has never ever been the case, and no one's ever challenged them to this. I mean, when you're looking at possibly since 1999, start 2001, you're looking to this day, £32 billion TV rights the Premier League have had. So just 5% of that, you'd be looking at 1.6 billion coming into grassroots football. Wow. When the Task Force Agreement was set up, it was set up so that the funding would go into an organisation which would distribute that money, which is called the Football Foundation. Having done some work and looking at the accounts of the Football Foundation, it appears that only 233 million has gone in to the Football Foundation for grassroots football. So there's over 1.3 billion gone somewhere. All we're asking is to look into it, investigate where the money's gone, and make sure the Premier League adhere to their promise. Because if you sign up to something, you should abide by that. And I'm disappointed that a lot of the media out there, the so-called media, have close their ears, close their eyes to this, because I've been tagging them in on tweets and Facebook and everything, and they don't come back. I've asked footballers to front the campaign, use their platforms to help the campaign and that, and I've had no joy whatsoever, apart from a couple, who live in Liverpool. Carragher's helped a little bit, a lot more. We could do a lot more in that, but listen, grassroots football, to me, is the place every football was born. Everything I've had out there, the FA have come back and hit back and said, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing, and it looks good. It looks good. Anyone can say they're putting £200 million worth of investments into grassroots football. I could say it myself, but actually seeing where it goes and how it gets divided and how it reaches literally the grassroots, is another agenda. We've got these, hubs that are out there at the moment, 3G hubs funded by the FA, Premier League, and government. Them facilities should be run by communities, for communities. They're run by private companies who are charging £180 an hour to use the facilities. Or a course.
Are you saying, like, for a group of kids to go to these 3G? Because I see them. I thought they were, to be honest, I thought they were like part government funded or something, where local kids, if you got a team or if you're a coach, you could get access to it for next to nothing. 180 quid an hour.
£180 an hour. And
the thing is, though, what football game is an hour as well?
There you go. There you go. So a 90-minute game, which is grown-ups, you're looking...
270.
Well, it's more, because you've got to have a 15-minute warm-up and, warm down and whatever. And it's privatisation of grassroots football, because these facilities have replaced grass pitches, which didn't get maintained anyway. But at least you could, break through the fence or climb through the fence, put a couple of nets up and have a game of football for the kids, or the kids could do that themselves. I ran a club up until September. I was a part of the club, which I formed with 350 kids in. And we were playing on grass. And all of a sudden, they were building these hubs on there. But we carried on playing on the grass, cutting the grass ourselves. We got a big lawnmower that sits on and that, And then we eventually moved from the grass, which we were paying nothing for, on to the AstroTurfs. And then 1 year alone, and this is just for a Tuesday night, Saturday morning, and a Sunday morning for an hour, we ended up paying 35 grand a year, which is disgraceful.
That's more than most people get paid in a year.
That's right. Well, this is a club. People just haven't got the £3, £4, £5 a week. If you've got 2 kids, it's £10 a week. Yeah. We talked just before you came on air about the food banks. And this is my problem. That people are using food banks and going to food banks. That means they can't put food on the table. Never mind. Right. Give the son or daughter £3 or £4 just to go and have 1 hour of full kicking a ball around. It's absolutely scandalous. And it's getting worse. Not getting better. It's going to get worse because more and more people are going to lose their jobs. More and more volunteers are going to say, listen, I can't afford to come anymore. I haven't got the time and that, And we need to do something drastically because we've got a massive obesity crisis out there. We've got a massive crime, knife crime, gun crime. And all these football groups, other, groups the kids go to, running, athletics and whatever, just being priced out. We're getting priced out of something that should come for nothing.
When I do share your petitions, I always say to people, tag your local football teams, tag your like the big teams, and also if you support a Sunday league or whatever, tag them in. If any of the players play football, tag them in, or even tag your employer. Just really get the visibility out there. But
you'd be surprised. I've even had past footballers telling me that they can't support the campaign.
They can't.
They can't support the campaign. They've been told to keep. They've been told to keep away from the campaign. right? And I've been told by junior football clubs down London that they've been told not to sign the petition. I even asked on Talk Sport when I eventually get on the head of football for the FA, and I asked him, "Have you signed the petition?" And he said, "No, and I'm not going to sign the petition because the FA are in bed with the Premier League. That's the problem you've got." And football players, who do they get paid off? They get paid from TV rights.
Well, yeah, exactly. So what are the other steps that people can take to help support? Like, because to me, this isn't, obviously there is the petition and there's getting the 5%, but on top of that, there's all the other little things that you talk about. There's the fact that at the end of the day, that 5% isn't going to save grassroots football. It's about communities and people actually having the access in the first place. So what other steps can people take to maybe do things like yourself, or what would you recommend people do if they can give that little bit extra than just a signature on a petition, if they can give their time maybe to something?
To see the smiles on them kids' faces on a Saturday morning when they come away from a training session, and certainly, one of mine, they come with a smile and they go away with a bigger smile, and they've got something to look forward to. Now, anyone who's got children, you don't even have to play football. You can get involved in any junior grassroots club. We're crying out for volunteers. We can put you on a level 1 coaching course if you want to participate down that route. We need people to look after the accounts. We need people to look after maybe sponsorship. There's thousands and thousands of jobs within grassroots clubs. And I think every town and city has a junior club out there. And we would never ever turn anybody away who would like to support.
Do you know what? Like, all my credit goes to you for the work you've put into this. Someone said something to me after that. It was that first time I met you in Liverpool with John, and someone said, "Well, you don't win the World Cup without world-class footballers." And at the end of the day, they come from those pitches. You know what I mean? The ones they're taking away and privatizing. And you might be a great footballer, but if you ain't got no money to pay £180 an hour or more, then no one's going to know you're a great footballer.
Promise. Yeah, the academies that I was talking about before are giving false promises. A lot of these kids are getting promises which they're never ever going to. I think it's 0.01 kid in an academy actually makes it as a Premier League footballer. All I want to do, and the biggest thing for me is keep kids playing football, keep them active, keep them a part of the team instead of part of gangs. And you know what? Hopefully some of them will go back and do some coaching in years to come and go, "I remember Kenny and the other lads who used to coach me, done it for nothing. I'm going to put something back into my community."
It's shocking to hear, the fact that you've heard it from certain clubs or individuals that said they've been told not to get involved with it, which for me is more reason for all of our viewers, anyone watching this, to make sure that they definitely click on that link and sign the petition, get it signed and share it to everyone you can, because football changes lives at the end of the day. It helps people get healthier, gives people a sense of community. You got that teamwork. And it is the beautiful game that we all love in this country. Even if you don't like football, when England are doing, when England have won one game in the World Cup, we all get behind it.
When you see the way, Dave Kelly and Ian Byrne, fan support and food banking, it's not just in Liverpool, it's gone nationwide. That's what football's about, a community. And what we believe that something's wrong, but we can change it. Or we can certainly help.
There it is. Kenny Saunders, thank you so much for giving us your time and speaking to us about your campaign. Now, Kenny, I have posted the current petition in the comments, so you know what to do. Just hit the petition, sign it up. Kenny has told us that he is in the process of waiting for a response from the government, and if he doesn't get basically if he doesn't get an answer to an investigation, and also where the 5% has gone, he's gonna keep going, and he's gonna set up a new petition and get more support. So if you can, check them out on Twitter. We've retweeted them today on Bywire and myself, think_become. We've shared their tag there. You can follow them, and just like even just the little facts that he posts about the amount of football pitches that have disappeared over the last 10 years. And when the government talks about the problems that Kenny mentioned there, like, we've got health crisis with young people and obesity, we've got gang crime, knife crime, all of that stuff. This is one way that the government can start to fix this. Not just the government, but also the Premier League can become a part of solving these problems. And I've just got all credit to Kenny for the work he's doing there. And from one petition to another, I've got to give a shout out to a friend of ours. Is fan supporting food banks, and Ian Byrne MP, who is currently got, I think, 2 days left on the right to food petition, which is in the comments right now. Make sure you hit up that petition as well. We need to get as many signatures on there as possible. The work that they're doing about making sure that young people have access to, it's a legal right basically to have access to food. That is so important. Now the summer's coming up. We've had the half term here in the UK. It's a quiet news period for everyone. But here at Bywire, that doesn't mean nothing for us. There's always something going on. And someone who gave us a little gift today was a French man who got the chance to meet Mr. Macron. And if you haven't seen it already, here it is, man. Alex P. Lil, like, comes in quickly, man, shakes his hand in it, yeah? And boom, hey! The feds jumped on him quick still, like, obviously, but I was bruv. Imagine you got the audacity. Just look at I thought that was just one of them amazing moments. A bit like Gordon Brown with the, was it Gordon Brown or was it Prescott with the egg? That was Prescott with the egg. I get confused with all these white men in power. They all look the same to me. I'm joking, Gammon, calm down. It's all right. Lawrence Fox will be tweeting about me and leaving Twitter tomorrow. It's calm. Don't watch it. I'm still here. I'm still doing my bit. The big dogs can cancel me, but you can't cancel my vibe, people. Trust me. Now, someone who's got a real hot vibe, and I tell you what, yeah, that someone who believes in people, like every single person, someone who believes in everyone that they meet and everyone in their community, is my good friend Laura Smith, who is on the show today. Now, Laura, I'm going to bring you in, but first of all, I got to bring in one of my favorite moments from when you was an MP, and you're probably going to hate me for this. Yeah, it's happening.
Comrades, we must topple this cruel and callous Tory government as soon as we can. And if we can't get a general election, we should organise with our brothers and sisters in the trade union to bring an end to this government with a general strike.
I can't see it. I couldn't see it. What was it?
It was your moment in The World Transforms 2018.
I thought it must be. I thought it must be. I was trying to weigh it up. Like, there were a few moments, but I thought I bet he's gone with that one. Do you know, I actually, do you want to know a little bit of a secret?
Go for it. Exclusives. We're just banging them out all over the place.
I had written my notes for that just moments before on the back of a tapas menu. Like, that just makes me everything that people hate right now, right?
Absolutely. Do you know what it was? I was interviewing people in, like, there's like a car ramp on the other side of that building, and I was interviewing different people as they were coming in and out of the building, and suddenly the crowd just erupted, and we were like, what's going on, what's happening? So we tried to look in and we couldn't see nothing. So it wasn't until like the next morning when I woke up browsing through Twitter that I saw that you were on like 1 million and
tell me about it. Tell me about it. It's the same for me. I went home. My parents had been looking after the kids, and my dad basically said, well, I'm ready for it, Laura. I'm ready to go. So that was me and him who were signed up for it at that point.
I was signed up. I would have been signed up if I knew what was going on. Once I found out, I was totally ready for it. At the end of the day, the way I see it is, if you're going to take people on, take them on with the power, with the means of production in it, and that's the workers, that's the people, and that's what I believe in.
It was, I mean, it was obviously a highly rhetorical speech, but look where we are now, eh? Look where we are. It's so terribly wrong.
Well, you know, there's always the next however many years we're on this earth to try and fix things.
Exactly.
There's a lot to be done.
Fix it, we must, Dan.
Yes, definitely so. But first of all, we're going to fix the media, because you've got a few stories from our good friends in the independent media world. What's the first one up that we're going to be looking at today?
Well, the first one was this story about GPs facing rising amounts of abuse from patients. And I think this is kind of fitting, because we know that ambulance drivers now as well are going to be fitted with body cams, and it isn't obviously just GPs and people working in the NHS who are experiencing this kind of response from some members of the public. We're seeing it across public services, and I think the article was really interesting because what it shows is those people who are at the forefront, sadly, of the cuts that we've seen, who are in these services where people aren't they're seeing their services cut. They're not able to get the same kind of treatments, etc., as they might have been able to because of their government. But their government does a really good job of kind of dodging that, doesn't it? And sadly, it's the people on the front line who we stand out and clap for, we did on a Thursday, who were experiencing this abuse. I mean, I've seen it firsthand. I was at A&E recently with a family member, and just there were signs everywhere like, do not abuse the staff, it will not be tolerated, no racial abuse, etc., etc. And we just sadly seem to be living in a society where abusing people is just becoming more acceptable almost. It's just disgraceful, isn't it? So yeah, that article just is a sign of the times, really, for me.
Most definitely. Like, just a shout out, talking about the Times, it's Byline Times. And that's Sean Norris who's done that article. Big up Byline Times. You guys seem to be getting regular plugs out here. You guys are doing bits, man. But yeah, I totally agree. Like, the last few times that I actually had to go into hospital earlier this year, because I had to get some checks on me, and I was in A&E, and I was just so grateful for all the staff. They're all such good people, like trying their best, and you can tell maybe some people have been too long in the job or something, but at the end of the day, they do it. No one goes in the NHS because they don't care. Like, they all go in it because they literally care, and they're being done over big time by whether it is a privatized service that's taken over an NHS, or a company that's taken over an NHS service, or it is the NHS itself. You know, it's just a horrible situation. And the fact that we're going to lose these doctors after Boris owes us money from the NHS, for the NHS from the Brexit referendum. I think last time I checked, it was 88 billion. Was it? He promised 250 million a week or something. And there's a Twitter
thing, isn't it? How much bullshit he talks.
It's amazing. I like to keep these figures up though, because it kind of holds these people to account a little bit. In the next time they go up, it's like, hey, what about the money for the NHS? What about the money for grassroots football? All of those kind of things. And like, you read in this article, you read some of the stuff that the doctors have said, the attacks they've had. It shows a way in which currently society is going. And in my opinion, a lot of the mainstream media have spent the last year pretending like it's not happening.
Well, and they feed into it, don't they? With we can see it with teachers at the moment. If teachers aren't going to work all of the hours under the sun for children to catch up, when the government are putting what, £50 is it? Per kid or whatever for catch up, just the lowest amount compared to other countries like the US, and people blame teachers, don't they? Because they're the ones who the newspapers point the finger at, who the media point the finger at, and that's why we need to have this really kind of organized movement to make sure that the other side of this is heard. They can't get away with it, which kind of brings me on to the next article that I was
I like your style. Go for it.
The next one was on union organising, and it was specifically around the new General Secretary of GMB, Gary Smith. So congratulations to Gary. And I totally agree with the point that he made in this article about how in a trade union, you've got basically a very special gift. You are there representing working people and their families. And we need to make sure that as a movement, we are organised, we are speaking on behalf of them. We never lose sight of the fact that unions are the people in them, you know, that they are the people, they are the union. Sometimes it almost gets turned into this shady organisation, trade unions, but when we're talking about the teaching unions, for example, you were talking about teachers, you're talking about teaching assistants. That's the reality of it. And again, the government try and turn it into, it's all about officers and general secretaries, etc. It really isn't. It really isn't. Yeah. And we're seeing more and more, obviously, that due to a variety of reasons, the struggle in workplaces is going to heighten. It's getting worse. We're going to see more and more people sadly facing traumatic times, losing jobs, precarious work. We're seeing the numbers of people claiming universal credit is going up constantly because contracts are changing, etc. We've got this horrific fire and rehire, which just needs to be outlawed. These are things that every single one of us will know people who will be affected by the stuff that is happening, these changes in terms and conditions, greedy corporations taking advantage of a situation, using COVID as an excuse to be able to line their pockets and the shareholders' pockets. And who is it who pays? It's working people and their families, sadly. So I completely agree with Gary Smith that the struggle is in the workplace. It's only going to increase. We have to have a united left to be able to fight this. And to make sure that voices are heard. That is just essential. We have to make sure that the movement is strong because people are going to need us and they're going to need that voice more and more.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that as a trade unionist myself. One of the things I do is anytime I get like a delivery or even when I'm out shopping and stuff, I always say to people, like, they say, anything else I can help you with? And I'm like, yeah, have you joined the union? Like, and everyone around me, they laugh, they think I'm being funny, but I'm like genuinely serious. Like, have you joined the union?
Absolutely. I'm the total fun sponge. I was at a friend's house and we'd ordered takeaway food and they're looking at their app and they're telling me how far away this delivery is. And I just went on this massive rant about, what about this guy who is delivering that food? And you're there. What are you going to do if he's a bit late? Are you going to report him to his company? This guy's probably having to go in all of these different directions on minimum wage. And you're sitting here telling me this is a good thing that we're spying on how quickly he's delivering our takeaway food? No. But yeah, I just don't get invited anywhere anymore.
Unless it's to an online show.
Yeah.
No.
You're having me.
Do you know what? One funny thing, like, I don't know about you, but do you remember that woman in Change UK, right? The failed political attempt at a party.
Which one?
What was her name? It was Joan. Was it Joan? Something Joan?
Ryan.
Yeah, there's a bit in this where the GMB leader's saying, we hold in our hands a very special gift. And I felt like it was the intro to her speech where she's like, hold your hands open. She said all to the church, hold your hands open. It's in, the future is in your... I found that quite funny. Anyway, so the last story to another centrist dad. Just a centrist. We're going over to Sheffield. What's this story? Oh, I forgot to say, sorry, before you do, shout out to Tim Lezard from Union News. Big up Union News, always bringing you the latest in Union News there. But now on to Sheffield. Go on, Laura.
Yeah, so this is a story about buses and bringing them into public ownership and what that looks like. And we're hearing quite a lot of stuff around this with regards to things that Andy Burnham has been saying, that Tracy Brabin has been saying. And I'm glad that the conversation obviously is happening. I think, it's frustrating, isn't it? Because sometimes I feel like people in charge maybe are saying one thing and doing another. So they talk about public ownership, they're talking about making sure that that communities have, it's more about the community, the community owns things, etc., etc. But are they actually doing it? And I think as far as this story goes with the buses, it's COVID again has shown us that being able to get around a community, if you are a low paid worker, I want to know why it is that these bus companies, the private bus companies, can basically take probably an hour's wages out of somebody for just traveling to work because they're getting on the bus, or somebody who's going to deliver food to a relative, or they're dropping their kids off at childcare or whatever. And somewhere in this chain of events, this service that should just be a public service, there is somebody, a corporation, shareholders, etc., who are filling their pockets with money. On the basis of a need for people to be able to travel. And as far as I'm concerned, buses should just be totally nationalised, in the public hands for the community. It is, everybody will benefit from it if people can get around, easier. But then you've also got the element of the environment, of course. And then, but I think the problem is that we have this ideology, don't we? And it's one that we have to keep fighting, where a lot of politicians are tied to this model of private interest. They're not in the place where they're willing to perhaps accept that private companies aren't this, aren't efficient. They're not the best way of doing things. In fact, private companies fail time after time after time, and it has been proven. It is totally out in the open after the period of time that we've all just gone through. And now is the time for bravery to be able to say that we need a new model. We need to be able to reboot our local economies. How can we do that? Nationalise the buses. Nobody should be making a profit out of somebody having to go from A to B on public transport. And I just think, I don't know, the Labour Party, it needs to have an actual policy on this that is shared, that is understood, that is agreed amongst politicians of what this model should look like, in my opinion. And that is that nobody should be making money out of people having to go from A to B on a bus.
The case is there, the case is real, and I think it's on fire. I can't disagree with it. Also, do you know what would be good? If we nationalize the buses, you guys might get a couple of buses in Crewe, because I remember I came there one time and it was Sally. She says to me Sally, where this thing was. I was like, cool, I'll just get a bus from the station. And she said, no, you won't. I was like, what do you mean, no, I won't? I'll get a bus. And she's like, there aren't any buses.
Yeah, I mean, there's not. And I think this again is it's all to do with the competition and where the competition is, isn't it? And of course the market drives that. And so places like Crewe that have been underinvested in because of for a number of reasons by the government, mainly for the last 10 years, these private companies don't see the interest in it. Well, let's have a service run for the public then.
Exactly.
Let's do
like
that.
over in Yorkshire. I think there's well, obviously not under Dan Jarvis's hat, Uncle Centrist over there, but there are people who have taken over bus services, whether it is one route or two routes, and you have people's bus services that run in rural areas across the UK, and it works fantastically. And the reason why you don't hear about them is because they work well. The drivers are happy, the customers are happy, and the residents are getting to where they need to be. And I totally agree with you. Couldn't agree more. Dan Jarvis has missed the trick there. Shout out to Now Then, a magazine for Sheffield. Great people over there. This article was by Sam Wolby. Well done, Sam. Keeping Dan Jarvis on his toes. I like that. Anyone who does that is good work. So there's our independent media roundup. Please, guys, make sure that you do check out the websites. There's loads more on bywire.news. But obviously now then, Byline Times and Union News. And while you're on there, make sure you hit the donate button if you can. Give them the support, because when you have your money going into the media, it means that you have a say in what's in the media and you have control over what's in the media, rather than the opposite side where it is multi-billionaires sitting in their tax haven islands, in their massive mansions, telling you what the news should or shouldn't be, which is what we don't like. Laura, I just want to say a big thank you to you for coming on the show tonight. It is a pleasure to have you on and always to see you. I'm hoping that we'll have you back on the show again sometime soon. And well, I don't know what your plans are, but I'd love to see you in Parliament shutting down a few more Tories.
Who knows what will happen. I can't believe I got there in the first place. So if I was like some sort of boomerang that managed to somehow get back in, God, it was who would imagine that? One thing that I did forget to say is that we need to make sure that people know that the Tories can't hide behind reversing privatisation anymore, because we are not constrained by EU law. So they can't actually wiggle out of this. We need to start actually using these arguments against them much, much louder. Yeah,
most definitely. Like, it's unbelievable. Just as a last note on the end of that, you know, one of the stories today in the news was about the Northern Ireland agreement with the EU and doing trade, and the government are literally sitting on their hands waiting for the EU to tell them what they can and can't do. It's amazing. Like, it doesn't matter what way you voted. The fact that these guys were like, we have control now, and still in the EU's hands.
It's all a bit messy, isn't it?
It is all a bit
but
messy.
What we just need is the left case, isn't it? And then we've got something to make sure we're all working towards.
Don't know. Boy, anyway, on the left case, I'm going to get the left out of here. Laura, thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow, 9 p.m, Facebook, YouTube, Bywire News. This is On the Bywire. I'm Dan Lewis. Thanks to Laura Smith. And make sure you guys get ready for the noise that is coming to G7 this week. Peace and love, people. We'll see you soon.
Yes, Dan. Bye.